Hello and welcome to Crux Investor. We took the chance to catch up with Will Randall, CEO of Freeman Gold, earlier today to talk about their metallurgy, drilling, permits and plans for this year. If you want our thoughts and opinions on any of those topics, the conversation itself and of course the company, you can find that at cruxinvestor.com/club. There's also detailed company reports and analysis on there. There's commentary from experts from around the world on a variety of companies and commodities. We have summaries of other interviews that we've done just to save you some time. There are training courses to help you with your diligence process. And of course, there's a thriving community of investors sharing their thoughts and ideas with each other in a nice, safe, civil environment. Wouldn't that be nice? Go along there now and do join them at cruxinvestor.com/club. And we'd love your feedback too. So give us a like, be appreciated, and leave your comments below. We get back to absolutely everyone. And of course, if you want to see what we talked about today, take a look at the description below. Will, how are you doing, sir?
Very well, thank you. Thanks for having me back.
Yeah, good to see you. We saw you back in October. You've been a busy boy. How are things over there?
Very well. We've been advancing extremely well, hitting our plans on target. We completed the phase one. I think last time we were on here, we were just initiating the drill program, and we have now completed it. We're targeting 5,000 meters. We are seeing really good drill core at the time, so we expanded that to over 7,000 meters. Which we completed in December of last year. We have all of our core logged, sampled, and in the assay lab. We had our first drill results out earlier this year, which showed some excellent grade over some fantastic intervals close to surface. So confirming, the high grade open pit heap leach nature of the Lemhi deposit, which is, remind you guys, in Idaho, USA. We're expecting, a steady flow of drill results as they go through the assay lab, culminating in our resource estimate in, end of this quarter, early next quarter.
Okay, fantastic. That's the reason why we wanted to call you, because one, track record of the team suggests that you guys are going to do what you say you're going to do. So I think, we just want to remind people, maybe perhaps look at the previous presentation and article. We'll put links to that below. But you're hitting everything that you thought you'd hit. I mean, the drill results I know they're slow coming back. Are there delays with the assay labs at the moment?
Yes, yeah. I mean, so I don't know what the reasons are. It's an increased, obviously, amount of samples in the lab, with the industry taking off again, and also probably COVID related. But around now is around 2 months. We're working with the lab to that and get that, within the more reasonable time frame, which is usually 2 to 3 weeks. We managed to get a lot of the drilling done ahead of schedule. So we had the assays in the lab ahead of schedule as well. So, it still puts us on schedule to get that results back and incorporated into a resource estimate within this quarter, which was our target. Okay,
so it average grade seems to be what you thought it would be. There's also a few high grade drill results have been announced there. They're always sort of eye-catching what people go to first, but there's nothing there to change your mind about what you've got based on the historical resources there.
Not to the downside, no. I think more the contrary. To the upside, yes. I mean, hole 6 that we released had, what we expected, which was those just around 200 meters at just over a gram per ton, which puts it, in the higher grade portion of these type of deposits around the world, let alone in the U.S. Just to remind you, it's the average grade right now of these deposits around 0.55 grams per ton. So anything, over a gram per ton is twice that grade and extremely high grade. But what we really liked about these drill results is that close to surface, and if you look at hole 2 and the likes, you'll see that right from surface, we're getting 40, 50 meters of 3 grams per ton, 3.5 grams per ton. And obviously those are very significant drill results and grades, because at that depth, it will be an open pit, it will be leached, so very low OPEX and very high grade is the great combination.
Okay, and this the assay results coming back late, is that going to delay you any in terms of being able to put out this resource that you're aiming for?
We don't expect to, as long as we now have a plan in place with the labs to get them turned around within this quarter and give us enough time to get the estimate done. As the results come in, we already have our block model built and our models built, and we're working with the resource geologist and firm as we go along. So it's a quick process to get the estimate out once we get the final assay results. So no, we don't expect to have any significant delays. As I said, end of this quarter, early next quarter, we're still targeting that time.
Okay, you raised about $10 million, and you've done your first phase drill plan. I know what you just told us what you're going to do in terms of the resource there, but you've got to get into a second drill program as well. Again, is that timing being affected? Is this delay costing you money, which you had not factored for?
No. So financially, the only difference for what we already originally planned was increasing the 2,000 meters. That's an extra spend that we thought was justified. Because what happened as we were drilling, we started to really get an understanding of the geology and these flatline structures that control the higher grade. So we started drilling some off and going, okay, what's open there? It's open on the other bit. So we started adding some holes just to tie off and try to increase the mineralization, especially these high grade zones close to surface. So that's why we added the 2,000 meters. We also had hole 14 that we drilled an extra 80 meters at depth, and what looked like 40-50 meters of really nicely mineralized core. We don't have the assay results back for that yet. So we'll see what the grades end up being. But we're really excited for that, because if that comes back high grade like we hope it will and like we expect it will, it'll open up all the exploration at depth at Lemhi as well.
Okay.
So we're still on track. We're excited. And on budget as well.
Okay, on budget. Well, that's the key thing. Yeah, you've also been looking at the metallurgy, so there's some encouraging numbers there too.
Yes, we had 3 cabinet pulls of historical data from the 90s and then the latest stuff in 2011 and 12 to sort through. We hired a great set of consultants and our team as well to work through them. And we had a press release actually on this recently. And what we have seen is that it is in fact very amenable. It leaches very nicely. So on a heap leach scenario, depending on crush size, you're going anywhere from 70 to 90% recoveries, which is very good. Even on the low end, it's very good. And then if we decided we want to go sort of more into a column, we could increase the recoveries to over 95%. That's what the data is suggesting. So we have a really good base upon which to start working. We drilled a met hole. A large diameter drill hole right through the center of the deposit. We have that already in SGS to do our own met testing. We also have a lot of core left over from 2012 that was selected for met testing. So our plan is use the 2012 core to optimize and then confirm with our fresh 2020 drill core, and we'll have a really good handle on our flow sheet.
The other aspect to this, which I was keen to catch up with you on, was around permitting. Okay, so that can usually take quite a while. What are you doing about it?
Well, I think, I believe we sort of alluded to this the last time we chatted. We as a group, we do like to fast track the assets and do something, get it production ready within, a cycle, I think we mentioned. And that's typically, under 3 years, hopefully around the 2-year mark. So we've been working hard at how we can do that. Permitting is always the timing issue, right? When you have something that's technically sound as Lemhi, the technical portion is not really the risk. It's more on the permitting side. And what we like about this, and we've been working hard at putting a plan in place, is that over 90% of the historical resources are on patented claims, which means we're dealing with the state and we own the surface right. So we have a plan in place that we can get that permitted inside of 28 months as of today, which puts us somewhere around 3, 4, 5 years ahead of if we were only on forestry land. It's a huge advantage. We already have this plan in place. We have a wealth of data as well, baseline studies, hydro studies, et cetera, to work off of. And we anticipate being able to get that done inside of 28 months.
That would be fantastic. Is there any precedent for that in Idaho?
There are, yes, sort of on claims, on deposits that have the similar claim structure. It's not it wasn't our brainwave. We hired the right guys that told us this is how you have to do it. We've done it here, we've done it there. It just happens to be an advantage of the project. Fantastic.
Now, this is my final point, because you've hit all the points that I wanted to talk about. So looking at your team, you obviously Paul Marosek, you've got Bassam Mubarak, you've got you guys. You guys create projects which become mines. So Given your wealth of experience, what's your view in the market at the moment? Obviously, it's, precious metals have come off a little bit. You're accelerating into a 2.5 million ounce resource. You want to get into production relatively quickly. That seemed to be the model you were describing to me last time. Has that changed any? And what do you think the barriers are for you in being able to do that as aggressively as you've laid out?
Yeah, no, it hasn't changed. We're definitely on track and on schedule to hit those targets. And it's definitely, I think the industry, it has come off a bit. The excitement has come off, but we still have very healthy gold prices that for a deposit of this nature is very helpful and makes it a cash flow machine when we do get to that point. And because of the permitting advantage, I think it's going to be very successful in being, developed early on compared to other projects. So I think we're still on track. I still think it's the right plan. And I think having assets that can go into production early rather than, 6 million ounces in a poor jurisdiction that can go in production in 10 years are a lot more valuable.
Well, I guess I'll refer people back to our previous conversation on business plan strategy, because that is another strategy. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's just not your strategy. You're going to try and get in production quicker, get cash flow, get it going quicker, right?
Correct. It's the same thing we did with Paul and Bassam in the lithium industry. We chose an asset that wasn't the largest. We had 2.4 million tons of lithium carbonate equivalent versus 11 and 8, but it's now in production. It's been one of the 2 assets in Argentina to go into production over the last 10 years. And, so because it had these distinct advantages, much like Lemhi, it covered an entire basin. So the permitting advantage was there. They had a grade advantage. It had a chemistry advantage. And it sort of fits in very nicely with what we have here at Lemhi. We've got the good jurisdiction. We've got a great technical background in that the grade is there, the metallurgy is there, and we have the permitting advantage. So, yeah. It's definitely what we want to do is fast track an asset that can be fast tracked.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you coming on today, and always like companies and CEOs actually, do what they say and say what they do. You're hitting all of these targets of yours. Come back on. Let us know how things are coming along, especially when some of these assay results come back in. It'd be great to take that phone call from you.
Yeah, thanks very much for having me. And just to remind you, we will be obviously having a series of press releases on drill results, resource estimate, and then we'll get drilling on phase 2 resource expansion drilling. So hopefully I'll be back at some point when we've delivered a few of those items.
Brilliant. Thanks, Will.